4 months, I've been excited about this neighborhood and tried to get as much information about this neighborhood to a point that the builder actually asked me not to do a video on it because they didn't want me giving out too much information. In fact, I almost wanted to buy a home in this neighborhood until I went and checked it out and I met with the reps and got more information, and is now my most disappointing neighborhood to be coming on the market. Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. I'm gonna go through and talk about all the reasons why I really loved this neighborhood and thought it was gonna be just a slam dunk of a neighborhood and why I wanted to purchase it. But then I'm gonna go through all the reasons why I am just really disappointed with this neighborhood. So before we go any further, I wanna hear from you in the comments. Is there a neighborhood that you were super excited about and then you went and saw it and just lost your appetite for it? I wanna hear that in the comments. All right, so here we go. The neighborhood we're talking today about is a Milestone builder, which is actually their M Signature line, their luxury line. And look, I was excited about this because I love M Signature at the Grove. It's such a beautiful neighborhood and what they've done there. So I was just super excited for this, and that is Skyridge. Now, one of the reasons why I absolutely was excited about Skyridge was the actual location of this. It is right off 1826, just south of Circle C, and it's right off Nutty Brown. So there's a brand new Belterra shopping mall on the other side on 290. So it's a quick drive there. It's a quick drive to downtown. Location-wise, this is a killer location. I was super excited about this location. Now, the other thing that really made me excited about this neighborhood was the fact that it went to Dripping Springs schools. So it goes to Dripping Springs Elementary, Sycamore Middle School, and Dripping Springs High School. Now, one of the next reasons I was excited about this community was the community pool. Looking at the schematics for the community pool, it looks really cool. And so I was excited that a new neighborhood was gonna open, have a community pool, location. So I thought that was really cool. The neighborhood itself looks really cool when you look at the gallery map of the community and everything. It looked really great. So I was excited for that reason. Now, one of the other reasons I was super excited about this, and they don't even have it like advertised on their website, is the property taxes. The property taxes are 1.87. And if you know me, I'm a big fan of low property taxes, and in Texas, 1.87 is actually fairly low. So I was excited for that reason. In fact, I had to email back and forth with the reps over and over and over just to get that information. So that's another reason I was really excited about this. Low tax rate, great schools, location in downtown, community pool, and then on top of that, it's gated. So all of those reasons, a really cool neighborhood. I was super excited, but here's where things started to really turn in my mind. I went to take a client out there to actually put a contract on one of the properties, and I started looking at the floor plans. Number one, let's look at the floor plans. Here's a great example. This floor plan has the longest hallway I've ever seen in my life. Look at that. I mean, it almost goes back to the back of the house. And then at the end of that hallway, you run into the dining room. And if you go to the left, you have like 4 bedrooms all around each other. So you have 3 baths just congregated right next to each other. A weird flex room, but the dining room, you walk into the dining room, not even the family room's in the back. So this floor plan just didn't make sense to me. And if you go through some of the other floor plans, it's kind of the same thing. They're just odd. I could not find a floor plan I actually liked. Their single story floor plans weren't that nice. It's nice they're all 3-car garages. So that was a downer, but then here's where the thing started to go down even further, is when I was looking at the schematic of which homes were actually being built right now. If you look, they're going off this first street, which is great. Most of the time they're gonna do that, but this is all really close to the road. And we'll get to the road in a minute, but these lots are actually kind of small for the home sites that they're building on there. And then if you go into the second entrance, if you look at this, they're much bigger sites, but they all back 1826. We're gonna get to 1826 because I actually really liked the location, but I'll get to why I'm having more of an issue with it being in this location now. So yeah, so all these home sites are really, really small compared to the homes that are being built on here. And then to come to find out that there's actually a 25-foot setback on all of these properties. So if you are buying a home on this green belt, right, and let's say you're wanting to put a pool in, there's a 25-foot setback, so you actually can't put a pool in. If you did, it's gonna be a very, very tiny pool, like not even 8 feet wide pool. So that was an issue. So then you go look at the other side. If you look at these lots, they're good sized lots, but they all do back 1826, which is a problem, trust me. And then if you do want to get to the pool, the only way from this side of the neighborhood to get to the pool is down this nature path, which is okay. But if you want to drive over there, you have to get onto 1826, go through a gate through the other gate, because again, this is gated, to get into here. So I just found that to be a little problematic, just the way the neighborhood was set up. So going back to the floor plan thing, once we actually started talking with the builder a little bit more, we found out that while you could pick a lot with the floor plan on it, you don't actually get to pick any of the interior upgrades. So they're gonna pre-spec out everything. In fact, I talked about this in my video about the horror stories, about how they're putting these homes together, they're putting in a really low quality product. I'm not saying they're doing this in this instance, but you don't get to pick out the fun things in the home. And I think that's kind of tough. If you're going to be spending, which we'll get to prices in a second, these prices, you kind of want to be able to pick out what features are going to be in the home. Because let's say you don't want brown cabinets, but they're only putting this floor plan on this lot and you have brown cabinets. As somebody buying a home that's excited to buy a home, that doesn't make me excited anymore. And so that's actually what happened to my client, is once they found these things out, they weren't excited about this community either. Now, let's talk about pricing. So once we got there, the prices for these homes were a lot higher than we anticipated. Actually, we knew about the prices, but they kind of give us a vague number. Going back to the issues with builders right now is that they're trying to wait for, to give pricing until they're at sheetrock stage. Because the market's going up so much, lumber costs are going up so much at this time, they're waiting. So really, you're gonna have to put a deposit down and then wait and not even know what your price is gonna be. So it could be in the 800s, it might creep up into the 900s by the time you're done. You really don't know. So that's kind of a problem for this neighborhood, is you're not gonna know your price. So here's the other thing. Let's say you did like this neighborhood and you wanted to put a contract on a property. You're basically putting a $15,000 deposit down now. It's refundable from what they've said. I've actually had experience with Milestone myself. I've actually built an investment property with Milestone in Summer Row, but it took me 60 days to get money back on a contract that we had to back out of in the past. So while they're saying it's a refundable deposit, just know it might not be 5 or 6 days to get that money back. It might be a month or two. And that's from my experience. Now, it might be different now. I don't know, but I'm just telling you from my experience. So you're putting a deposit down on this property. You don't know the pricing. It is refundable, but that money might take a while to come back. And I just find that a problem, and my client found that a problem. Now, here's where things went from bad to even worse. So once we got in this community, we actually found out it's a condoized community, which is fine because I know Milestone does a lot of condoized communities. In fact, I own an investment property in one of their condoized communities, and it's a great community. But here's where the problem is. It's $250 a month for the HOA right now. Granted, it's a gated community, it's gonna have a pool, it's gonna be nice, but those costs will go up, right? $250 this year might turn to $275 next year, turns into $300, $350. And you're thinking, yes, but the property taxes kind of offset that because they're at 1.87. Let's say that you do buy that home for $850,000. Your taxes still first year are going to be $15,000 to $16,000 based on that 1.87. And here is the kicker. So these are all condoized, but they are all on shared septic. And from what they told me, it was 12 homes on one shared septic. Now, if anybody's ever owned septic before, septic, you do have to pump those, so there are fees associated with pumping your septic, but now you have 12 homes backed up on one septic. It would be different if this was set up to city utilities, but it's not. So the fact that you have 12 homes on one septic could be pretty problematic. I mean, I don't know, I've never seen 12 homes sharing one septic, but for me, that was kind of like a no-go, and that's the same thing my client said. Now let's go back to that road issue that I talked about. So I love the location of this. Right off 1826, I thought it was great. The problem is, once we went to leave that community, it was so hard to get on 1826. The traffic at 4 o'clock in the afternoon was terrible. It took me 5 minutes just to get on 1826, and all three of their entrances are going to have a hard time getting on and off that road. So for me, that became kind of a scary thing. Crossing 1826 was not ideal. Now here's the other thing. As my client and I walked out of that meeting, we sat there and we talked about the neighborhood. I could not hear anything my client said, and she couldn't hear anything I said. The reason for that is because it was so loud off 1826. Now, if you think the 1826 is just a 2-lane road, it's quiet, there's a lot of big trucks going up and down that road. In fact, just trucks in general. So that was actually kind of the final straw for me and for my client of why we decided not to buy in this neighborhood. So what do you think? Am I on or am I off on all of these things? Do you think that this is still a great neighborhood? Again, I'm not trying to persuade anybody not from buying in this neighborhood. I'm just giving you kind of really the cons of what we saw and where we came from. Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group. Have an awesome day. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.